Hey everybody, Eric Broadbent here with another live EVH Gear discussion. I'm joined by a bunch of us tonight, a bunch of EVH Gear heads, some new faces, some old faces, some very old faces like myself. So what you're seeing on the screen is probably a little different from what I'm seeing here, but I'll just rhyme off some of our guests. We've got Brad Peddle, another Canadian like myself. We've got Jared Frost. Hey Jared. We've got Mully from Japan.
Yay.
Johnny Bean. Everyone knows Johnny.
Hey, Molly.
Hey, Johnny.
All right, we've got
Long
Matt
time, man.
Wilhelm. Did I get that right again, Matt? Okay,
Hey, what's going on, man?
we've got Rob Johnson.
Hey guys, how you doing?
All right, and obviously myself. So today's discussion, we've been talking about this online a little bit on Facebook over the past few days, actually the past few weeks. What it started was getting my boy, the Wolfgang Standard Purple Burst back there you can see on the stand. And as soon as the guitar came in, I set it up for him a little bit for his birthday back in March. And I fell in love with the guitar. I was borrowing it from him every day, putting down my other guitars and playing that one. It was just one of those things that reminded me of my old Kramer days and playing the guitars. I don't want to use the word cheap or inexpensive, but they were inexpensive guitars. And I seem to always play my best on these inexpensive guitars because you weren't worried about dinging them against a wall, or you're on the stage with your band member and you bump into a mic stand, you scrape it or ding it, whatever. It's just one of those things where you take the fear factor out of the guitar, you tend to play really, really good. And so I took apart the guitar, like I'm not necessarily take it apart, but went through the guitar, like every little detail, trying to find flaws in this thing. Why can this thing be so cheap? Talk about this in all the videos. They have a retail price, a US retail price, a little over $800, and they street around 600 for the transparent ones, about 50, 60 bucks less for the solid colors. And had some hangouts with some buddies, and we were trying to say, like, how can these guitars be so affordable? Now, obviously, being made in Indonesia, that's where a lot of the savings are, and the costs, the manufacturing costs, parts costs, that kind of stuff, labor. But so I had another one sent to me and had it sent down to Adam, and we upgraded it. And that kind of spawned a lot of interest in these guitars through a lot of our mutual buddies, and started to sell a lot of these things. And then, of course, there are people saying, well, what did you do? What did you get Adam to do to your guitar? And I gave off the list of stuff. And we'll talk about Jared's guitar in a moment here too, but I made a list of what I've done. So let's just say this guitar has a US retail price of $800 and change. Street price around $600. So right now you've got a guitar that plays great, like right out of the get-go, $600 US. And I mean, for the average person, you could play it in a band, everything, it'll work for you great. But spending not a heck of a lot. I bought a new D-Tuna, 37 millimeter block, the heavy duty noise, the springs, the titanium string lock blocks, stainless string lock screws, stainless saddle mounts, stainless nut clamp screws, and the LED kill switch. That retail price is $242 and change for all that stuff. Now, so you take that $600 plus 242, you're looking at $850, just less than $850 for a guitar that I will honestly take and I'll put up against an American Wolfgang any day. That's from the factory, untouched, and this thing will keep up with it for sure. The tone, it speaks for itself. I know when Adam was, he did a video himself before I did my video, and Adam played mine. He tuned it up out of the box and played okay. Then he put the upgrades in. And Adam's face, my face, and Jared had the exact same expression when he turned his on, rolled that volume, and it's just almost like I attribute it to having a cool stereo system when we were, teenagers growing up. We have these cool stereos, and all of a sudden we save up our money, we go buy an equalizer, and we stick it in the middle, and all of a sudden, whoa, where'd this tone come from? Like my stereo sounded great, but where did this tone come from? Well, that's what the Futone stuff did, and it's like it's like a little kid going to see Star Wars the first time. You light up when you're, all elated with tone. And Jared, I'll pass over to you, but am I kind of hitting it on the head with how you felt?
Yeah, pretty much. I got up early last Wednesday morning, and I was really excited to get it all done. And I took the whole guitar apart. Here it is, the finished product. You can see all the stainless parts and the Floyd and all that kind of stuff. But after I put it together, I had to reset the truss rod in the neck and redo the action and all that kind of stuff. But when I first turned that volume knob over, it made the biggest difference I've seen as far as a lowering guitar and just changing out $120 worth of stuff. It just made a world of difference on the tone. And now this is my absolute favorite Floyd. just the way it feels. It feels strong. It feels stout, and I haven't had to retune it in like five days since I've redone everything. When I first put everything together and I played it that night, the guitar did feel a little stiff. Like the strings felt stiff, and the playability was really different. But that next morning, after letting it sit, and I realized that I didn't have to even adjust the tuning at all, and I don't know what it was. I think everything just kind of settled in, but it played like a dream, and I love this guitar.
It's funny that you say that too, because it's the most inexpensive guitar in their lineup. It's the bare bones entry level guitar, and a lot of us as seasoned players, we've been playing for a long time. We normally frown upon things like this. Okay, this was good for the kids, but we really wouldn't look at this for ourselves. And Jared, you're a great player. I would expect you to gravitate to like an American Wolfgang or a PRS or anything of that caliber. And it's funny, we grab these guitars and we can't put them down.
Mm-hmm. You're right, and I've had Van Halen Music Mans. I've had Ernie Ball Music Man Axis's. I have an American PV Special that I've had since I was I think 13 or 14, and I love that guitar. I've taken it apart. I've painted it so many times and putting it back together, and it still plays great. It still sounds great. But for something like this that is a little bit lower price range, and after discovering the last couple of months FU Tone, and just spending couple $100 on some upgrades, and how big of a difference it actually makes, it's mind blowing. It really is.
It is, and I look at it too sometimes, and I saw a question pop up, and I'll allude to that in a second about the concept of futone. But okay, and all of us can appreciate this with our pedal boards. Okay, I'm sure we've all got some pedals that to the average person would have a hard time justifying buying. One, tuner. One, in my case, a noise suppressor. Now you got to spend $150 on a noise suppressor. That's a hard sell to the average kid growing up. Okay, well I want to buy a delay pedal and a distortion pedal. I don't want to spend $150 on a noise suppressor. But then when you realize how important that pedal is to what its job is, it doesn't do anything else other than suppress noise, but it does that job really, really well. Same thing with the futone. I've got a question here from this guy, Chris. He says, I don't fully understand the concept of futone. What's that mean? Not dissing it, but aren't these guitars coming already equipped to kick ass? Itching your fingers like Eddie and Alex. True. But what futone is basically it's the hot rod shop for your guitar. My Camaro from the factory drives pretty darn fast, but I could also take it to, I haven't done it yet, but take it to the custom shop and say, put some nitro in there and a switch so I can lose the cops whenever I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what you do. And if you're a tone chaser like Ed, sure, he makes these guitars. His people make these guitars to be basically like what he likes, but he's hopping up his own as well too. Nothing is stock, and that's the thing. Is maybe by putting all these parts into the guitarist factory, then we're looking at $1,200 for a guitar, and then that's out of the price range of the entry level people. So I hope that answers the question there, Chris. And,
can I say something here?
You certainly can.
If you're buying an entry level guitar, like an Ibanez or some off-brand guitar, you're going to pay like $129.95 for it with an amp and a strap and a couple picks, right? And then you buy this $800 or $900 Wolfgang, which is entry level for a Wolfgang. Huge difference.
Yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, when you pick up this $800 Wolfgang and you pick up a $3,500 Wolfgang, huge difference there too.
Yes, there is.
So yeah, you can definitely upgrade your parts.
Yep, I've said this in some other hangouts. I'm glad you mentioned that with the entry level. When I've worked in music retail in the past, I've worked in a few different stores for half a dozen years each, and I would always tell parents when they'd come in, they'd say, well, okay, I see your price on your little Fender pack. It would be like $299 for the amp strap, the whole thing, just like you said. And
right.
And actually, those were okay. Some of those things you could, if you give them to the guitar tech, they could fudge them a little bit, make them playable. But they'd even skimp on that. They'd say, oh, that's too much. They go to the yard sale and spend $50 on a guitar in a yard sale, where it came with a free certificate for a tetanus shot. Because the strings are rusted 6 inches off the neck.
Right.
And kid goes home and severs his sister's finger with it, and then he doesn't want to play guitar anymore because he's hurt himself or somebody, and they give up. So there's a
String
different-
action so high you can play the slide between the strings and the fingerboard.
Yes, yes, and that's detrimental to a child's or a young teen's future in music. You want to give them something that is encouraging to play, and that's what. And it's not just this guitar. It's every brand has something entry level. I do think, my personal opinion, obviously people are going to think I'm biased, but that's your opinion. I do think this brand on its entry level will blow away anything else that's on the market for their entry level. I'm welcome to comments on that. Yeah. So that's what's nice about it, and I happen to be I've been playing for 30 plus years, and this is now my favorite guitar. So it's pretty cool what it can do for you. And I had to
Yeah, and
apologize.
like you said, like when you're just starting out, a kid, I think way more than 60 or 70% of people quit just because the guitar is set up improperly.
Yep.
That's another thing too. Another very good point. Now there's some online places that we all, a lot of us buy our guitars from. I won't mention any names, and I definitely won't mention any of the names of the bad places. But a lot of your places where you might buy your toasters from online and your summer clothes, you can also buy a guitar from. And I don't recommend it, because number one, you're picking whatever they can grab off the the rack, whatever in the back. They send it to you. Here again, it's going to arrive either damaged or not set up. You need to buy your music equipment from someone that's got the same vested interest in the guitar as you do. Whether it's some of these ones will let you, like in Jared, your case, we won't mention where you bought it, but you were able to pick and choose between 3 or 4 finishes. So you said, okay, I want that one, and then you wanted to have it set up your way. I imagine they probably even asked you how you tune your guitar. Did they?
No, they didn't ask that, but what I like about that website is the pictures that you see of the guitars, drums, etc. that they have in stock are of the actual unit that they have. So when you get it, there aren't any surprises.
Exactly.
And I was able to. They only had 2, but I was able to choose which one. Mine had the better top, and that's what I wanted. I'm sure all the other stuff was exactly the same, but I wanted the prettier top, so that's what I did.
Good.
I have a question about these tops.
Sure.
Are they actual maple tops, or are they a thin veneer over the basswood?
It is a veneer. That's another
Okay.
where the cost saving is. And the funny thing about that, Molly, before I knew a little bit more about this guitar, I thought it was basically.
I know where you're. I saw that. Go ahead.
Photo flame. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a photo flame, and it was Josh Smith who pointed it out to me. Well, he alluded me, put me down the path. He has the Bluebirds like Jared's, and he was showing me his, and it almost looked like a real quilt or flame because there was movement to it, right? Obviously an optical illusion, but then I started looking at them a little closer, and every one we saw was completely different. So it's a different veneer. Mine is completely different than my son's, and I know he hates it if I say mine's better than his, but it kind of is. And Jared's is a real nice one on his. So there is a real variant between them.
So do you think that they're actually using maple veneers?
Oh, absolutely.
I believe so.
Rather than something printed?
Yeah, I believe so. And
Okay.
and I don't have the email in front of me, but I was talking to my rep way back about this. Actually, before I even got either of these guitars, I was asking him some questions. I always talk to my rep first before I quote anything online, because number one, I'm trying to represent the brand, and two, I don't want to look like an idiot representing the brand. And so I never quote something before I know. So I asked him, I said, tell me about the cost savings on these videos, blah, blah, or on these guitars. And he said it was I believe he said a maple veneer. I'd have to research that for sure. I'm almost 99% sure that's what he said. So
I wonder, just since it's a thin veneer, I wonder how much it changes the tone compared to just being basswood.
Good question. We'll have to try some. I know I'm going to get some more here soon too, and some of the solid colors. At least I'll get one for the boy or something, and we'll do an A/B comparison there too. Yeah, I'll be borrowing it. It's going to end up down here. Yeah. So Matt, why don't we hear a little bit from you? Introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us about what inspires you, and get to know you a bit more.
Yeah, man. I've been playing for 16, 17 years now. I heard the Van Halen Best Of album that came out in, I believe, 96 when they got back with David Lee Roth. Back in like 98, I heard that, and that's what made me want to start playing guitar. So my first guitar literally was like I think a Yamaha Pacifica that I got at a pawn shop.
Nice.
And for like $60, but I mean, like Mully was saying, and like you guys were talking about, like I tell people that all the time at my work, when they're looking at instruments and stuff like that. A lot of it comes down to playability, and like if you just buy something, because when you're starting out, you don't know better, and if you buy something that's not set up right and it's hindering your ability to learn, a lot of people get frustrated in the first couple weeks and just give up because they think it's just them naturally not being talented enough to learn.
That's right.
And really, it's the instrument. But no, I mean, I've been big into Van Halen since then. I mean, I've always been self-taught. I've never had any lessons. Like I couldn't read actual music right now if you wanted me to, but I learned by ear. And I think by wanting to learn Van Halen, it made me, progress faster than if I would have stuck to more basic stuff. Because Eddie's kind of unique in his playing, and I don't know. I don't even know what the word would be for that, but yeah, I mean, I just recently got a 5153 212 cab and the lunchbox head like 2 weeks ago. Phenomenal amp, I love it.
It is.
And I posted pictures online. I just got a Wolfgang special from a guy recently that needed some work, but I got that back together. I think honestly plays better than my USA, and I don't have a standard yet, but I was thinking about getting a white one. So I'm looking at doing that and then getting some FU tone upgrades, because I haven't tried any of their stuff yet because my other ones are hardtails.
Very cool.
But,
when you mentioned about the FU tone stuff and maybe just starting out with some of the stuff, there's a question here as well too. One of guys that was going to join tonight, Ben Powell, he couldn't make it, so he sent me a question, and it sounds like he's a new player as well. He said, seeing as the standard will be my first guitar, most likely my main one, how long should I wait before having Futone install the D-Tuna and an upgraded block or the whole tremolo system? I don't think that I'll need a kill switch, and roughly how much would that cost? What I'm going to suggest to you, Ben, is if this is your first guitar, if you're just getting into it, I would maybe even hold off for a little bit, because the guitar is going to play really good out of the box if you're buying it from a retailer that has set up. So the guitar is going to play good, and this is not to take a sale away from Adam. I mean, Adam will be there when you're ready for it. Just wait a few months, get the feel of the guitar, and then maybe start off small, buy a D-tuner, throw that on, and you'll have some fun. It'll be a novelty to you when you've never had it before, and then you can slowly add on to, throw on the block, and then do whatever, like what Jared and I have done with our guitars, and you're looking at $250, or 200 some odd bucks around there, when to do all that stuff, but it costs you $50-$60 just to get out of the gate. But wait till you feel ready for it. Just get the guitar and play with it and have some fun. But it sounds like obviously we're all here for one reason too. Like we're all inspired by Eddie Van Halen, and it's cool to hear how where we came in as our entry point.
Who?
Yeah, you know the man. But we all come in at a different entry point, and we'll probably all go out in different exit points too. But it's all a common thread, and we're always chasing how to play like him. We're trying to sound like him, and it's like that treadmill, right? You're just going and going and going, and Eddie's on one end of it, and we're on the other end of it, and we keep past one another. We're never going to get there. It's like the cat chasing a dog or a dog chasing a cat, whatever. It's fun, and it's fun to hear everybody's stories. Brad, we haven't heard from you yet. Brad's my fellow Canadian here, and a really funny story about Brad before I let him speak. We accidentally met in Toronto at the August 7th show back in Toronto at the Molson Amphitheater, and I was shooting from the pit up front, and I turned around and wanted to get a couple nice panoramic shots of the crowd, and I just shot, and then I'm going through some of my photos, and one night had Brad on a hangout, and I was like, that guy looks really familiar. I went back to my photos, and this doesn't usually happen when you look back at a crowd, and I picked up the guy who just had my hangout. I was like, dude, I think I have you in a photo. And sure enough, him and his wife, and I said, here's a free high-res photo for you. And, he was excited, and that's how we met, and we've talked a lot about that ever since.
That's excellent.
How did you like that show, Brad?
Oh, that was awesome. Great show.
Yeah. I think the band was on fire.
Oh, yeah, Eddie was on fire. It was just awesome show right there, 20 feet away from Eddie, watching him do his thing was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Molson Amphitheater is a good venue in Canada. It's for an outdoor show. It's one of my favorite. I've only seen Van Halen there once before, back in '96. Was it '96? Was the pay-per-view? '96, right?
95.
95, yeah, right.
August 95.
Yeah, that's okay. There you go. That's
It's a
yeah,
nice
actually,
show.
yeah, August as well. Yeah, so that was another really good show too, and that was, in my opinion, that was one of the best shows. Eddie was on fire. His eruption solo that night was just, you couldn't even keep up with his fingers.
That's probably my favorite solo he's done, and his tone was just,
Me too.
his tone was amazing.
Yeah.
God, you guys are going to boo me out of here. I love that show so much because Alex's drum solo was really good.
No, it's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
when he kicked in that track and it had like that samba beat to it or whatever it was, that was awesome.
No, I agree with that 100%. And he's kind of cut back his drum solos a lot over the years. So that was a magical one for sure. No doubt about that one.
I was like, damn, he really can play.
Yeah, that was good.
I had that taped off on VHS back when it first came out because it came on Much Music after, and I wore that VHS out just watching that over and over. And then 20 years later, in 2015, to be up at most of the Canadian Amphitheater seeing them live was just like it came 360.
Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, they're just booming sound, carries out over the water. As if you're going to see them in Canada, that's one of the places to see them. Rob, how goes your project with your Relic?
It's going really well right now. I don't know if any of you guys have seen some of the hangouts that Johnny, Dave, Nesdal, and myself have done with Chris Hubbard. But I'm sure everybody kind of knows the story of why it's getting relicked. I got the USA Ivory Wolfgang guitar, and fantastic guitar. I said it a few weeks ago when we did the first hangout when I took possession of the guitar. I've been playing guitar for about 20 years. 42 years old, so I kind of got a little bit of a late start playing it. I mean, I've been a Van Halen fan since '84, but I didn't start really playing guitar until about '94. So 94, actually I take that back, about 96. So it's been about 20 years of playing guitar, and I was constantly chasing the Eddie tone like everybody, and had a lot of fun doing it, and have built many Van Halen Relic guitars over the years, and pretty much had all the signature guitars from the Music Mans to the Wolfgangs, the PVs, and this guitar, when I took possession of it and I literally played it acoustically, it was a mind-blowing experience. The harmonics and the actual bounce that the strings had and the ring that it had was just phenomenal. I've never played a guitar in my life that actually gave me the feeling that I got when I played that first chord, that first A chord on that guitar. It was just incredible. And then when I plugged it in, of course, I'm playing to my 51, 53, so I mean, obviously it's going to sound great. But just a fantastic guitar. So the only thing I was going to do to it was put the kill switch in, and had a little mishap with the guitar thanks to my cat. And that was probably more of a planned excuse, though, because now it's getting the Relic treatment. And Chris Hubbard's doing it. Chris has been sending me some pictures, some updates. I got a picture today from him. He's actually completed most of the checking of the guitar, the
Nice.
crackling, and it just looks absolutely incredible. So I'm anticipating probably a return time of about I'm going to say a week and a half to 2 weeks. I should have it back in my possession, and can't wait to check it out. So it should
Chris
be
is
pretty
the
cool.
man to do it.
For sure.
Well,
Just
again,
hearing you
it's-
guys talking about taking a fresh guitar and doing that to it is making me sweat.
Hey, man.
But you know what, though, Mully? I mean, honestly, I'll say it. I mean, when you know as well as I do. I mean, you've been playing this game long enough. I mean, when you've been around guitars and the Van Halen game all these years, it really doesn't matter anymore.
Just
Who
another
cares?
guitar.
Just another guitar. It can't look bad. When it gets done, it's going to be fantastic. And I probably could have done the work myself, but I wanted to give Chris a stab at it because I was so impressed with what he did with his.
Yeah, he did a great job on his.
Yeah. So it's coming
Question,
along great.
When it's all done, will there be like a bit of a clear coat on top of that just to prevent any further chipping?
Yes, actually, it's going to be. If you look at Eddie's guitar, it does have a clear shine to it.
I thought so.
So, yeah, from what I understand from some sources that have actually spoke to Chip, he did the the checking effect with an X-Acto knife. It wasn't necessarily a heating or a freezing technique. It was an X-Acto knife, and by judging by some of the pictures that Chris sent me today, I mean, like I said, it looks exact. So essentially, all he did is he's just checking it through the finish. So the finish is going to stay on there, and basically, when he removes the paint, it's just in those specific areas. So it'll still maintain the gloss finish on the areas that are not relicked. So, yeah, it should be pretty accurate to Eddie's.
That's cool. That because it'd be a bummer too. Like I mean, obviously, if it ain't more flaked off, it would look like it's more
Yeah,
road worn.
exactly.
But then it's not exactly his replica anymore either.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that'll be. Hopefully, that's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, it's one of the questions I had for Chris. I said, since you've done yours, have you had that happen? Have you had any more flaking on the guitar? And he said no.
Oh, that's good to know then.
Yeah, definitely.
Very, very cool. So yeah, I heard the story as well too about the with the cat knocking off the stand. I was telling Sandra about that too, and we were both kind of cringing. When
Yes,
we
the
heard that.
cat is still alive.
Yeah,
Barely.
my dog and cat would be gone. I guarantee you that. I'm sorry, you gotta go. Yeah, maybe sign at the road for a sale or free pet, whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny with all these guitars. I have not built a guitar like back in the day. I built, I'm gonna say probably 3 to 6 Kramer 5150s, but up in my part of Canada, I could never find a maple Kramer neck. Every Kramer I'd buy them used was always like a rosewood neck. So I never really had a true, the true 5150. But I know it was actually pretty decent at it back then. But I never had patience. And usually with anything I do, I don't have patience. I want it done now. So I'd spray paint it, and 25 minutes later, I'd have the strings on it, and I'd be playing. I'd realize one of my arms sticking to the guitar, and fingerprints all over it. But I actually did a pretty good job, and just from going from the magazine photos. But I guess after having a bunch of kids and things like that too, you just, the patience level isn't there. So one of these days I'm going to have we all know our people, and have one of the guys or a combination of a couple guys build me something. Want to get a Frankie? You don't have a Frankie? You would definitely want that. Molly, you've got a nice one, don't you? I think I've seen. You've got it.
Oh man, the mowing man, Frank.
Yeah. I think I've seen your pictures of it.
Yeah, it's right there
for sure. Yeah,
it's right there in the corner.
Now I see it. Fantastic.
He's been a bad boy, so I stuck him in the corner.
There you go. I'll tell you.
He wouldn't play the way I wanted him to.
I'll tell you a discipline story of a Wolfgang. Remember for years the black Wolfgang I got. You can't see it very well back there, but that was my main guitar for years. And working in I worked in a PV and a Fender store, and we had a trade come in on the. Here's a long story short. I ordered the Purple Flame when they first come out. And they were very, very short supply. So the black one came into the music store. I said, okay, give me the black one. I'll take the black one because I couldn't wait. And then a purple one came in on a trade. And, when you're the music guys working in the store, you get to pick stuff before the general public does. And I grabbed that one and loved it right away. I took it home. And I had this trophy case in my basement where the black one would hung inside the trophy case. Kind of like Gerd's over there in Germany. The way he's got all his recessed in the wall. That's how mine was. It had a piano light on it. And I couldn't change my colors with LEDs like Gerd does, but it was still pretty cool. And I thought, okay, here's my new purple guitar. I put it in its place, and I put the black one on a stand. And I turned around, and the high E string broke off the black guitar as I turned around. It's almost like, oh, you bring that, so-and-so into my house, and take my number one spot. And the guitar broke its string all by itself. It was trying to tell me something. So I was like, okay. I put it back in the wall, put the purple one on the stand, and we had to kind of let them adjust each other a little bit, It's like a woman thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very strange. Yeah.
Eric, that guitar that you were talking about, that Kramer that you painted initially, was that the one that you had on Unchained World back in '96?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Remember that?
Yeah. I'll see if I can dig up some of those photos.
Yeah, those are pretty cool. That's when I first met all you guys, you, Jerry, and Scott, and back in '96.
Yeah, that's right. That would be I wish I had it for sure. I wish I had half the guitars I had. I'm sure we all do. But that was back in the Unchained World days. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if I could turn around and just get a couple of my guitars back, I'd be really happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a signature Music Man, the Trans Gold. I'd love to get that back. I had 2 Wolfgang Specials, the PVs. I had a nice Dark Cherry Burst Wolfgang, the PV. I would love to have that one. I just kill myself.
It all comes down to sometimes you're down on your luck financially. You got to trade something to pay or sell something to pay the bills. Or I've done some things where I've traded. It's almost like I always get mad at the kids when they do this. I'll trade like I'll trade a PlayStation 4 for a box of Tic Tacs. It's like, what was the logic in that? And I'm no one to blame either, because I've done it myself. I've traded in Parker Fly for some cool recording mics that were nowhere near the value, but I needed those mics at the time, didn't have the cash, so here's a Parker. And I guess in the grand scheme of things, it works out, but we do miss out on some of these things for sure. Johnny, how about you?
You want to hear the ultimate take advantage of story?
Yeah.
I traded a 5152 head, a 5154 by 12 cabinet, my pedal board with all its pedals, there are only like 6 pedals on it, and a 1991 Fender Strat for a Mesa Boogie 50-watt single rectifier combo.
Good deal. Yeah.
I'm not sure what I can say on that one.
I wanted the Mesa.
There you go. Well, you're happy, right?
Yeah. I was perfectly fine with it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I knew I was getting the crap into the stick, but I just,
Comes down to what you want, man. Comes down to what you want.
And I traded an ESP George Lynch Purple Tiger for a dead stock Kramer Focus.
If it serves a purpose, definitely it's not a financial.
I would say probably.
Say that again.
I would say probably the biggest regret that I ever had, but I actually lucked out on, is when I sold my Steinberger GL2T Trans-Trem guitar back about 8 years ago. It was the Newberg 1985. You guys have all seen it on the Hangouts. I've demoed it before. Striped faceplates, exactly like Eddie's 5150 Steinberger GL2T. For some strange reason, back about 9 years ago, I think financially I just needed the money, and I sold it. And from the second that thing left the post office, I regretted it. Oh, I regretted it. And you try to replace them with the Honers and the Steinberger. No, nothing replaces the actual Steinberger Trans-Trem when you're trying to play Summer Nights or Me-Wise Magic or whatever it is, Get Up, and Fire in the Hole, whatever. And I never forget it. It was about 4 years went by, and I had always missed that guitar. And I was on eBay one night, and lo and behold, Steinberger GL2T Trans-Trem, Eddie Van Halen striped, and it was probably one of the guitars that shouldn't have been up there, because of the copyright issue. And I'm looking at it, and I'm going, you got to be kidding me. It looks like mine. And I couldn't remember the guy's name that purchased it, his eBay name, because 4 years had gone by. So I messaged the guy, and I said, you by any chance didn't purchase this guitar for me for you? And he got right back to me immediately. He goes, oh, Rob, this is the one. It's probably got an hour's playtime on it since I bought it from you, and I'm even going to throw in a case. I'll cancel the auction right now. He says, you pay me the money that I paid you, and you can have it back. And I got it back, and it was fresh set of strings, and that was one of those lucky moments that that guitar will never go anywhere ever again. And
that doesn't happen too often.
Offers. Yeah.
I told the story in a hangout before, and it kind of alludes to two guitars. And Matt, you'd mentioned too about a Yamaha Pacifica. I've got one hiding back there as well too. But I traded that Yamaha Pacifica. I won that one in a Guitar Wars back in '91, and I wanted the Wolfgang real bad, and couldn't afford it. Canadian was somewhere around, I'm gonna say around $2,100 or $1,999, somewhere around there, way out of my price range. Couldn't afford it. And I was gigging, just trying to make ends meet, and so I traded that and a bunch of cash and got the Black Wolfgang. And I hated to get rid of it too, because that was a trophy, right? And it's something I won, and I could never replace its sentimental value. And then fast forward about I'm gonna say a good 6 years down the road, it's hanging in the music store. And I cut out vinyl back in the day, and I made like guitar picks looking stickers, and stuck these little things like polka dot, almost like the polka dots all over the guitar, but it was guitar picks. Because it was a cream guitar, it had faded where the picks were, faded everywhere except where the stickers were, so they were more of a pronounced little look to it.
Yeah.
And another giveaway on that thing that I knew was my guitar is on the back, on the plate over the spring cavity. I was taking the screws out one day, and I slipped, and I gouged the back of the guitar, a nice long, 6-inch long gouge.
Sure, it wasn't your cat that did it?
Yeah, you never know. But so I'm seeing this guitar hanging up. I'm like, I'm working in the music store. I'm like, okay, cool. I looked at it again. I'm like, man, that looks just like mine. And kicking myself. I wish I would never got rid of that guitar. I'm walking over, looking a little closer. And there, sure enough, is a scratch on it. Like, okay, you're coming home with me. So similar idea as Rob's. The guitar, the cat came back, right? and very, very fortunate. And another one too, the reason probably why I'm playing this purple one is when I talked about the US PV, I sold that one, paying some bills, some years back, and okay, here's an easy way to pay the bills. I sold the PV, US PV purple, and I sold it to a buddy, which is nice because it's going to a good home, whatever. And he keeps teasing me with it. He posts pictures on the internet of his room with all his guitars, and there it is right there. And I'm just like, oh, I want that back. And I'm sure there could come a day where I say, look, I'll even give you an extra $200. He'd probably sell it back to me. And the reason why he bought it, he has the Purple Music Man. He wanted it to be a match, so he wanted to have a nice match. So I regret that. But Johnny, you've got to have. Are you still there, Johnny?
I'm here.
Okay. Have you had it? I'm sure you've had some guitars. Have you had any that you've really regretted getting rid of, that you've either sold or traded for something?
Yeah. I've had a bunch of Kramer Focuses. I used to back maybe 10 years ago. I used to get like bodies and necks and just slap guitars together. So I had a bunch of really cool Kramer Focus guitars I used to put together, and I'd play them, I'd gig with them, I'd record with them, and then I would get rid of them.
Yeah.
And at the time I was up to maybe like 50 guitars.
Jeez.
Yeah, I had rows and rows and rows. But there's I can think back to a few of those Kramers that I wish I still had, just because they had really aged really well, and they were aged then when I had them.
Yeah.
Like an off-white that was like yellowed, and some of you guys, Rob, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah. So there's a few Kramers that I wish I still had.
Some of the parts we could harvest off those guitars now too for some of our builds. They'd be the vintage parts. It'd be great.
Yeah. But I'm lucky though that I still have my my Music Man, my PV Wolfgang, and even my first Kramer, which is a Kramer Focus 1000 that I've had since I was 15.
Yeah.
You still have that one?
Yeah. I still have it. Although it has a different neck on it now. It has a pacer. Has a pacer like what they call the chicken hawk neck on it.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
That's funny. We can sit here and we can talk about all these guitars that we wish we hadn't got rid of over the years, and I know we've probably all have one, two, maybe more that we regret selling. But on the other hand, too, I would also venture to say I'm sure every one of us on this call also can say we're proud and happy to have some of the guitars that we have today in our arsenal, too,
Oh, for sure.
Who the heck out there's got an Ernie Ball mulling man, nobody.
That's right. We have to
no, all kidding aside,
that's pure metal right there, baby. You can't get much better than that.
That's
when you're on stage and people look up and they go, "Dude, you've got your own signature model," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's right."
That's awesome.
But seriously, I think everybody on this call has got some really sick guitars, no doubt, and you guys are. I think we're all lucky to have the ones that we have in our arsenal now. So, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice. You're part of the family.
Guitar that you guys, that purple one you guys both just got, boy, that is a sweet looking guitar, and I love it.
But the sad thing is, Rob, we've got all these guitars we're proud of, but looking across the dais here and seeing all these guitars, it's like, oh man, I want that, and I want that, and oh look at these got back there, I want one of those.
Yeah. As soon as you get one, the day you get one,
game, man.
The day you get one, you want another one. It's okay. Well, now I want blue, and it's really hard. It's obviously it's got to be a disease. I know they call it gas, but it's very tough. And even little Eric is just as bad, if not worse than me. Seriously, he's the other day I go upstairs. He's watching Chip Ellis videos, and he's like, "Hey, Eric, come here." He goes, "Dad, come here. I want you to see this. This is the guy who built Eddie's guitar." I'm like, "I know, son." I'm humoring him, and he's just researching, and you just see these. He's going, and he's just writing stuff down. Okay, we can relic this one, Dad. And,
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't want to use the Korean bridge. I want to use the German bridge. You know, he's telling me all this stuff. The kid's 10 years old. I'm like, okay. I even
That's
told my
great.
guys at EVH, I'm like, I might have created a monster, so I'll just slip him into my place at EVH, and he'll carry on the tradition, hopefully.
I don't want to venture. I don't want to venture into any territory that's going to get us into any trouble or anything. But do female guitar players get gas the way we do?
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do if they're into the guitar.
Or is it just a guy thing? You know?
I don't know. It's
Sorry,
it's
not the same gas.
It's not as polite when the women get the gas. You know, but you know, if like at Bear in the Woods, if you don't know they got gas, they don't know. We don't know they have gas, but I'm sure they do. If they're into the guitars as much as we are, I'm sure they crave them just as much. It's very. I don't seem to have it with pedals. You guys tell me if you're the same with pedals. I got my pedal board now where I'm happy with it. It would take something. Yeah, take something revolutionary. Another pedal from Eddie. You know, for me to put it on the board, but. Guitars, that's a different story. It's very hard for me not to look at a guitar on a website and say, you know, write it down on a piece of paper that I want.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with my amp too. I'm sorry, I'm the odd guy out here. I play Mesa Boogie. I've got I used to have the Road King, and then I had a dual rectifier Trimoverb. Now I'm pushing 50 years old. I don't need to be carrying that crap. I got the 25 watt mini rectifier, and I throw it over my shoulder whenever I go anywhere.
Hey, just because you're the odd man out doesn't mean that's a great amp. I mean, it's not a great amp. That is a great amp. Nothing wrong with that. And I'm the same way too with the amp. Like, you can't see much of my stuff. I've got the 100 watt back there and the lunchbox. And the only reason why I've got the lunchbox, they sent it to me. But the funny thing is for about a month and a half, that's all I played. Could not stop playing that amp, and I felt guilty. Matt, you know, you have it. I felt guilty. I wasn't giving the love to my 100 watt, so I went back to it. And the only reason why I went back to the 100 watt was because it does get a much cleaner tone through the clean channel than what you can try to get out of the lunchbox. But if I had one amplifier and it was on, you know, well, actually it's perfect for my Camaro. If I had a 112 or 212, I could throw out my Camaro and the lunchbox. I could go jam in a buddy's garage. Can't do that with a 100 watt, but I'd be happy with that. And I'm not on a quest for amplifiers either. I obviously, like anybody else, I have some interest in the new EL34. You know, but am I going to rush out and buy that one? No. You know, I'll demo one here on the YouTube channel in a couple of weeks, but that's probably going to be about it, because I don't have a desire. Yeah. It may wow me, and you guys might be calling me a hypocrite in a couple of weeks, but I don't. You know, I'm happy where I am with the amplifier, but I'm always going to be looking for more guitars.
Yeah, in about 6 weeks' time, we're going to be seeing, hi, this is Eric Broadpin, sponsored by VanHalen.com.
Yep.
This is my new EL34.
That's right, exactly. It's the best amp
Best thing ever.
That's right. This is the only amp I'll ever want after I just got rid of the other two.
Right.
Actually, Mully, he might be on talking about the new Mully Boogie amp.
You never know.
That's what we need, a Mully Boogie.
I'll be your spokesperson for you. All right. All right. Send out the contract, and I'll look it over, and we'll get my people back to your people, and we'll come out. We'll meet somewhere in the middle on that. We should, since we were talking about this guitar here a second ago, the one I was holding here, we've talked about this off the call. I just want to kind of go back to it for a second. And Jared kind of brought up his love for the tremolo on it, the Floyd Rose Special. And on these guitars, they come, I used to call them black chrome, but I guess the proper term is black nickel. So that's what I got to learn to start saying now. I'm having some trouble with mine, and I don't necessarily point it out to the manufacturing of the guitar. Jared loves the trem on it. He said it's like one of the most responsive trems he's got of all of his guitars. Solid. The problem I've had, and I've been posting this on Facebook a little bit, just basically trying to find some others with these guitars, and, excuse me, to try to find someone with the same symptoms. And what's been happening, I'll play this so people can hear it on the internet, if I'm still plugged in here yet. Okay, so I've got my D-Tuna pulled back to the drop D position. If I hit my A string and let it ring out, and as I engage the D-Tuner back to a standard tuning, it's lowering the pitch of the guitar, and it's driving me crazy. So here we go. So there's a good quarter of a tone. So I'm on a quest to figure that out. And a lot of people, I'm sure there's going to be some comments, people are going to say, well, you're an idiot. You've only been playing guitar for a week. You have to fine tune. You have to do this. I'm not saying I'm the end all be all, but I know my guitars really, really well. When there's something wrong, I know usually right where to go. I can chase it and find it, fix it, solder it, whatever. But this is haunting me.
That shouldn't be happening.
No, I've done. We talked about this off the call, but I'll tell people in case you're having this situation. I'll try everything I've tried to save you chasing the same rabbit down the hole. I've tried spring tension with the claw length. I've loosened it off. I've tightened it so there's zero play in the bridge whatsoever. Obviously, we all know with the D-Tuna, the bridge has to be flush on the body, or else that's not going to work. You can't use a floating trem unless you're using a trem stopper. I've tried using a fake trem stopper in there, like just some spacers, washers. Just obviously, if I was to use the bar, the washers would fall out. But I just put something in there to block the trem from moving. Same idea again too. What else did I say, guys? Am I missing anything that I tried?
You want me to give an example of mine?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
That's not doing it yet.
No, that's good. Yeah, and so the variance is like, it's like when you're trying to diagnose something, you got to take every kind of equal thing here. And there's a couple different scenarios with Jared's guitar and my guitar are pretty much exactly the same because we have the same FU tone upgrades. So those two are exactly the same. The lyrics back there is stock from the factory. His does it, but not as bad as mine. And you could almost, in a band situation, you could get away with it where you wouldn't notice it. But it's just one of those things that until you know it's there, you'll probably be fine. But I'm not. What my point of this whole thing is not to try to scare anybody from buying these guitars, because I've been pushing these things really hard, and I know a lot of people are happy with them. I just want people to be aware if this happens to you. We're trying to figure out what this may be, and I'd love to hear from somebody else that might have the same situation. Our buddy Charlie over there in England, he's got the standard. I think his is the black, the non-burst, the black quilt, whatever you want to call it. And I was talking to him this morning, and I said, Charlie, do me a favor. You got your guitar handy? He says, yeah. I said, go over, pull your D-tuner back, hit your A string, let it ring, slide the D-tuner back in. Tell me if your A string drops. He did it. He goes, whoa, and he was shocked. So I love the trems. I think they're great trems. Nothing wrong with them that I can see physically or cosmetically. But I'm wondering with the price of these guitars. Here again, I said this off air. You're looking at these guitars, the transparent versions, which are about $100 more than the solid colors. Looking around 800 some odd bucks US retail price. Street price around 600. You can pick up the American, I shouldn't say American, the German, the Deluxe Floyd in the same color for around 250. So I'm thinking, because I like this guitar so much, I'm thinking I may go that route. Rob's offered to lend me a trem just to try that theory. So I'm going to try that theory first before I go out and buy one. Yeah, so if anyone has any ideas, you guys or anyone watching, whatever, if you have any suggestions on what may be doing that, it's send them my way. I'd like to figure that out, and I know I'm not the only one. There's a couple of us having it. So, but a great trem on the guitar. The guitar is a rocker. We can't sell this one enough. I had to send an email to the guys the other day and said, I'm really sorry I'm not pushing American products, but you make the Indonesian ones, or they make the Indonesian ones too good. So unless you start making some crappy guitars, I have to keep pushing these ones.
What happens with the D and G strings when you do that?
Pretty much same thing. Let's try the G because that'll sound out nice. It'll sound bright.
Oh wow, it's really noticeable.
Yeah, and the first thing somebody would think would be spring tension or the claw.
Well, I was kind of wondering, like with the D and the G, like what if it was something to do with the wound strings?
No, it's all the way across. Watch if I hit a chord. We'll do that. Here's a chord.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna hit the low E string because it's way whacked, and that's my own fault. But I'm gonna hit an A chord.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's a trans trem D-Tuna.
There you go. Yeah. So it's
Eric, my D-Tuna, I like mine to be real stiff, pulling it out, pushing it back in. Yours seems like you can do yours a lot more fluently.
Yeah, it's very, very loose.
Can.
I've got, while we're talking here, I've just got the fine tuner wrench here too, and I'm just going to tighten the tension up on it. If I can, my vision is so bad. I've tried that as well, and I like it so I can just flick it with my thumb. Now I've got it really tight now, like to the point where it's almost hard to push. I'll just. Yeah, so she's still doing it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so any guitar pros out there that might have a suggestion on that, And I mean, you don't get more professional than Adam at FU-Tone, and Adam knows his stuff. And I need to stress two things. Number one, this is nothing with the flaw of FU-Tone stuff, none whatsoever. That's a disclaimer to get that right out of the way. And I really don't think it's a flaw with the guitar or the bridge. There's something. Maybe it's a flaw with me. Well, there's a couple of us that
Probably
have a
something
flaw.
wrong with that particular bridge.
It could be. It could be a couple of these out there because these ones are imported as well. These bridges. So we'll get to the bottom of it eventually, and I hope to solve it for myself and other people as well.
I just tried that on this acoustically. I don't have it plugged in.
That's fine.
This is obviously parted together.
Mhm.
I've got a Music Man bridge with the D-Tuna on it, and it stays in tune.
Yeah, it should. And I've got 4 or 5 guitars back there, other than the other purple one there, from PVs to various versions of Eddie's, Wolfgang's, and none of them do it. The Stripe series, they work flawless. So it's something getting close to a localized issue. So we'll figure it out.
Frank C is asking in the questions over here, are your saddles straight?
Yes. Yep. And here again, Frank might not have caught that earlier. And Chris Hubbard had mentioned something similar as well too. Very, very good suggestion. Whether they're tight or a little crooked. Yeah. And Adam had this baby himself, so it was handled by Jesus. So in my opinion, when it comes to the guitar, so that equation doesn't work out either. But thank you for the tip. I definitely appreciate it. So we'll get to the bottom of it for sure. Something else I had on my list I wanted to just touch base with you guys too. You guys probably all know this. We talked about it off the air too. But with some of the American guitars, we know the molded cases that come from EVH are real nice. Red velvet, crushed velvet, whatever you want to call it, inside with the molded stripes. Those can be purchased obviously for the Wolfgangs. But a lot of people didn't know that you can get those ones for the Stripe series guitars too, the Strat style with the Strat mold. Obviously not for the Star. I think all they have for the Star is the gig bag. I'll leave this in the comments. I've got the part numbers. You can order them from EVH, and they don't have them on the website, which is strange. But they don't have all their accessories on there either. They have a MSRP manufacturer suggested retail price of $219.99. Don't quote me on this. I would venture a guess if you look around some of your online retailers, you might see those cases for $150, $169. I definitely want to get one for the Stripe series because I've been just carrying it from place to place, not from out of the house, but if I'm putting them away, whatever, I like to have them in the case. So good idea to grab one of those. We talked about the Floyds. Now, Johnny, I only tuned in briefly the other day. I think you guys were starting to touch base on the new stuff at NAMM. I put the pricing on my website today. I talked to my guy. Like, I've had the pricing for a while. It didn't actually come from EVH. I had it from a friend, and I had to sit tight on it because even my guys at EVH didn't give me the pricing yet. And I got it, and I said to them this morning, I said, am I okay to put it on my website, and are my prices correct that I have here? And they said yes, and yes, you're allowed to. Obviously, when it comes to my EVH endorsement, I treat that with kid gloves. That's why I always ask questions before I post something, because I waited my whole life for this, and I'm sure I don't have to tell anyone the giddy feeling you get in the morning waking up that you realize it's not a dream. So I do not want to blow this. So obviously get facts right. If I don't know, I don't promise something. But I put the price on my website. We're looking at the new EL34 coming in October, and it's got an MSRP of $3294.43. So you round that off, $3,300. Now, first, right off the bat, that caused some panic online. Sometimes people don't realize what MSRP means. It's a suggested retail. If you look at any guitar or product that's on that website now, see the MSRP, and then go look at Guitar Center or wherever else and see what they're selling for. That's your street price, and that street price will be pretty consistent because the markup from dealer to dealer is going to be pretty close to the same. And they got to be competitive. So that'll give you a good idea. If you look at that amp and then go look at, say, the 5150 or the Stealth and see what it goes for in the store, take that kind of guide, grain of salt, whatever, and that's what you're going to retail at. Now, I've a couple of people asked me, have you heard it yet? No, I haven't heard it. But I can tell you, talking to Adam this morning, no, he's obviously at NAMM. I don't think he heard of that NAMM, but I asked him, I said, did you play the Wolfgang or did you play the amp? And at that time, he hadn't. But I won't say, because I don't have his permission to say where he did play it, but he played it when it was in prototype form, and he said it was just absolutely incredible. So I was like, So, if he's heard it, and I know he probably played a guitar himself through it, not just listening to it, I'm sure he played through it, and I'm sure he was in good company when it was played, so wink, wink. So that's coming. We've got the matching 412 cab. That's going to be 1333.32. I'm sure you're going to see that like typical. And here again, I'm not quoting, but probably $9.99 street price somewhere in there. And then obviously the EVH Wolfgang Special Striped. And unfortunately, I made the mistake of sending a link to my boy on that one. So we've got to get 2 of those. Those are going to retail at $2237.75, and I don't even know what to venture a guess on retail on that one. I don't know. Would you guys say somewhere around 19, 18? What would you think?
Premier Guitar had up on their Instagram before we came on a street price of $15.99 on it.
Fantastic! Wow. Okay. Now it is. Now what's you guys? I should know this, but I'm first one to admit when I don't know. What's the street price right now on a typical special?
$1,100 maybe if it's some of the new three-tone cherry burst or sunburst ones are about $1,100.
Okay. So a few $100 more.
I saw here in Canada the white and black top specials are 13 something.
Okay. Canadian. Okay. So that 15 that you saw, was that Canadian as well?
I think it was US because it was Premier Guitar.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. So that's still not that bad. And people are saying, well, $300 or $400 more. It is more of a novelty guitar. We're going back to chrome hardware. I know there's not a lot of difference in the price. Actually, there is. Chrome is a little cheaper than black. Just as far as the painting process and things like that. So it's only a couple $100 more, $300 more, and you've got the novelty that we're all chasing, the ebony neck. There's some arguments on that. Well, it's not really cool without the maple neck. I'm kind of back and forth. I've been a maple guy my whole life, and then seeing Eddie switch a little bit, now I'm starting to crave that a little bit. So I don't have a problem with it myself. What are your guys' thoughts on that Wolfgang with the ebony neck?
I think it looks great.
I prefer the striped one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I prefer the maple.
Yeah,
just because of what it is.
Right. There are some people like that, and it's going to be 50-50, or maybe not even that even, but yeah.
It's like that 5150 with the rosewood fingerboards you made many years ago, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's
a
very good point.
little bit off, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So yeah, very good point. So it's not going to please everybody. But I think that's definitely going to be their big seller, and I can see that one being a backorder situation for a long, long time.
But then again, if Ed plays one like that, then that's what it is, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's kind of, I kind of look at it like I agree with you, Molly. I mean, it's not my personal favorite because it's not what I'm used to seeing in the maple neck. But I remember when watching Ed in 2012 playing the Wolfgang, the black and white striping with the ebony board. It wasn't maple, and it was just different. And I think one of the things to remember, these days, if you're an Eddie Van Halen fan, we're all going to have the things that we really like, that we hold special, in our memories from the 80s, 70s, 90s, whatever, And now Ed is just, he is not the same Ed that he was back in the 80s. He is not a maple board Ed anymore. He's not a one pickup Ed anymore. He's trying all different kinds of things these days, and we're all going to have our opinions, and we're all going to have the things that we really love. And I agree. I still prefer the maple. I love the ebony necks, but I prefer the look of the maple. But I don't know. It's I think we're going to see a whole bunch more different things from Ed coming down the road. I really do. There's going to be a lot of change.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see what comes out in pedals and amplifiers and things like that. I've already had people already ask me, do I know if there's combos coming? I haven't heard a single word of that. If anything, I could see maybe towards Winter NAMM next year, or maybe even another announcement like this a year from now. Maybe in the fall of next year, you might see combos of this EL34. We don't know. And there's so much heated debate over that amplifier right now too, because people are saying, oh, it's just a tube swap and things like that. I think we honestly have to be fair with this. And I'm not really hearing any demos online yet. And even the demos online, even when I do a demo, it's not going to do it its real justice. It'll be fun to have it. But we need to be in a room with this amplifier, or be at a guitar center, or be wherever it may be, and just hear this thing before we really make our minds up.
The EL34?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be worlds different. It has to be.
I think so. I do. And obviously, here again, people say I'm biased, and I am. It will be different. How different, we don't know, but I think we just need to give it a chance, And I'm not saying we, as in this group here. I mean the people that are out there that are ready to, to lynch it.
Well, the EL34s just don't have the growl that a 6L6 has. I had a Mesa Boogie Stiletto, It was a good sounding amp, but it had that Britishy sound to it that it's not me.
Yeah.
I need that chugga 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 of the 6L6s.
Rob, what are your thoughts? I know you're kind of watching this closely and stuff like that too. Like, what are your thoughts, anticipations, fears, or hopes for this amp?
You know, I like everybody else, you know, or I guess like a good chunk of people. When I first heard about it, I was under the impression that the amp was going to be more of a classic Marshall, you know, type of amp that Ed played back in the '70s, you know, and that it was going to hold, you know, that vintage sound. And you know, I always liked that sound, but I really didn't pay much attention to it until very, very recently when I started getting more information from all you guys on what this amp was really going to be. Like, I kind of agree with Molly to a degree. I mean, that Britishy kind of tone has never been my personal favorite sound. I don't dislike it. It just hasn't been my personal favorite sound. But I'm very anxious to kind of hear some demos of this thing. I doubt that I'm probably going to go out and buy one because I don't really need one. But that's not to say that I won't have one day. But I'm really anxious to hear some demos and see what people think when they plug it in. And you know, just like I said a minute ago, it's just another example of Ed turning the corner on all of us and putting some stuff out that we probably never really thought we'd see. So I'm kind of anxious to hear it and see what some folks think. I mean, it seems to be the talk of all the Van Halen guys now. This new, you know, 5153 SEL, you know, 34 amp. I mean, it should be pretty cool. I mean,
I'll tell you what, the first demo I want to hear out of that is from the man himself. See what he does with it. You know, that would be, you know, I mean, because if you're going to set a standard, that's it. You know. Yeah.
I think we all need to unplug from the internet now for about 3 months, and we'll just hope. We'll just keep our fingers crossed. Eddie gets some time and can go do one. That'd be great. Have a GoPro on the end of the guitar and have it all mic'd up nice. I think it'd be great. Yeah, for sure.
I got a quick question for everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who has purchased a set of the EVH striped swim trunks? Am I the only one that just got them?
I'm too fat. I can't fit into them.
I can't say purchase, but I have some coming. I have. As a matter of fact, next week.
I just wore mine tonight with my coffee. And,
I'm on a diet, so I'm looking for. I'm on a diet, so I'm looking for next summer.
How do you like them, Rob?
I was just saying, who would have thought, you know, 10 years ago that we'd be wearing striped flip-flops and swim trunks and beach towels and you know
it's funny that you mentioned that. I was just going to allude to that when we were talking about, you know, the amplifier and things like that too. It wasn't that long ago that we couldn't get any of this stuff. And, you know, like Ed or love him or hate him, he's, you know, sure, we're paying for this stuff, but we can have anything now with his stuff on. We can have his guitars, we can have his pedals, we can have his amps, we can have the accessories.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the clothing. We used to have to make the shoes. I've still got the shoes here that I had made for me years ago.
Cell phone.
Eric, you and I probably got them at the same place.
Yes,
phone
we did.
cases.
Yeah.
Right?
We did. Remember, I used to do advertising for the guy on my site back in the day. You know, the shoe dude. I forget his name now. But yeah, I did advertising for a bunch of shoes, and I still have them. Yeah, that's it. The same ones exactly.
We begged for this stuff years ago. We begged for it, you know.
I know. Now we've got it in every color. Yeah, Brad's got the phone case there. Actually, yeah, look at my iPad. You know, same thing. And my custom tie. Actually, this was made from the boy, but for Father's Day. But yeah, we can pick this stuff up now by the drove, and it's, you know, it's good stuff. I mean, you know, the clothing too, all the stuff that Jeff's selling in the Van Halen store. You know, they don't sell junk. You know, it's good quality manufactured stuff, so we can go to the concerts and play our shows and, you know, dressing in the garb. It's great. Love it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, here's the thing.
Absolutely.
I've always said so many times over the years that I'm going to lose weight so I can wear this, or I'm going to lose weight so I can wear this. Well, I'm going to lose weight so I can wear these shorts. And I'll tell you why this time it's going to be a success. And, you know, Eric knows, and Johnny and Rob might know. I was diagnosed with diabetes back in February, so I've already dropped 50 pounds.
Phenomenal.
And I'm looking for more down the road, man. I got about another 150, 200 to go, and then.
Well, 50 is a huge loss for sure, and I've been following that very closely. I try to watch the videos when I can as well, and support you as well too. That's
thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Phenomenal. You know, it's a struggle every day for people, I'm sure, and it's a heck of a lot easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight.
Well, Molly, here you go. Here's a set of them for you right here. So.
Oh, don't show them to me now.
Yeah.
And Rob, I'm not sure if you were told this when you ordered them, and I'll just give a little tip to anybody that wants to order them as well. They run. Jeff told me like I take a size 36. He said I should order a 38. So I guess what they run small. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does because I ordered I'm usually 34, 33, 34 waist, and I ordered the 36s and they fit perfect. So
Jesus Christ, my thighs are a 34.
Hey, this time next year, you'll be getting 38.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Oh, you'll be in 32s this time next year.
Yeah, right.
Yep, for sure. More power to you, buddy. Keep up the positive mindset and the physical.
Thanks.
You know,
Absolutely.
for sure. You're doing good, and you quit smoking. That's
Yeah,
huge.
it's almost 5 months now. Yeah.
A lot of people that
Good
quit
job.
smoking put on weight. So you quit smoking and you're losing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I'm actually losing weight. Yeah.
Kudos
Yeah.
to you, man.
Well,
And
it's because I have to eat like this, and you know the whole diabetes scare was enough. Like it was a kick in the back seat, you know. Quit screwing. Yeah, and you know I don't want to drag this into that, but my dad died at 49 years old. I'm 48. I don't want that same thing to happen to me.
Yeah. Same as with me with smoking. I lost my mom to it, and that's why probably one of the many reasons why I don't smoke. But it's a habit that I see people trying to quit every day, and that's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't quit buying guitars either.
I wanted to get back to the EVH stuff. I've got the Wolfgang case.
Okay.
Here at the Japanese site, the place where I usually buy stuff, it's called Sound House, and they're a major distributor here in Japan. They don't have a shop; it's only online, and so you can they usually have the best prices anywhere because they don't have the shops to deal with. They've got the EVH black hard shell case for 19,800 yen, which I calculated before is $193.
Oh, okay, so a bit more than I thought, but still reasonable. Okay.
Yeah. And now I also have a question for you, Eric. I was just going through their EVH stuff, and they have the EVH Wolfgang Special Natural.
Yes. I don't have the price on that one.
Sorry, I'm a little ignorant to this. What's the difference between this and the El Natural?
Oh, okay. What you're seeing there, that's a different guitar as far as I know, and I don't have the price on the El Natural. I have it on my website, but I wasn't given the price on that one, so I have to apologize. I don't have the price. I think it's the paint on the back, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, Johnny, you might know.
Yeah, the back is brown.
Okay. Now, transparent brown or
I'm going to just put this up so you guys can see it.
Are you here, Rob?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you remember what we heard?
Yeah, well, weren't we talking also about this being the first guitar where the pickup is swapped around like the Music Man's were?
Reversed, yeah, that's true.
Well, it was that one photo. The one that's actually at NAMM right now is reversed back to normal, the way they all are.
Is that just a one-off guitar, do you think, Johnny? They did that with? Because I thought that was pretty cool. I always liked that feature about the Music Man.
I did that on my PV Wolfgang. I flipped them.
Yeah. It's possible that was just the guitar they grabbed and, because I've been to the factory. I've seen them put all those things. Well, not the Mexican ones. All the USA ones I've seen. I've seen how they build them. I've seen all the parts and everything. And they just, I mean, not to sound cheap. I mean, they throw them together, but that guitar, that particular one, I mean, it could have been one they were just testing, because they have a lot of prototypes. I mean, you wouldn't believe the stuff that went into the Wolfgang before Eddie approved it, the original one.
Right.
There were so many different stuff.
Well, look at the black American Stealth that Gerd has, and Charlie has it right now over in England. But that was one that was, before it was released, it was basically a NAMM guitar. It was on the wall at NAMM, and so that could have been a situation like this too. Okay, let's get this one so we can show it at NAMM. It's not a mass-produced one yet, and then Gerd bought that one. I mean, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. There's so many different prototypes. I mean, Eddie goes through so many different things before he approves each model, and then he signs each model. Every time he approves a guitar, he'll sign it and put the date of when he approved it, right? And we see some of that stuff at NAMM. Like you go to NAMM, I don't know about the summer NAMM, but when I go to the winter NAMM, most of those guitars, you can pick them up and you turn it over, and Eddie's signed to the headstock. Most of the headstocks have a signature, and it'll say approved. It'll have the date on it. You know, like that Bumblebee special, the hardtail, that actually said approved on the back of the headstock that he had written.
Sometimes right on the neck,
You
like
know?
you did on the
You
Frankenstrat as well.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the one I want.
Yeah.
yeah. If you watch the videos I did from last NAMM, even the NAMM before, actually, you'll see some of those guitars and with his signatures on the back or even on the front, actually.
Yep, and got the wear marks and everything because where he's played.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played a couple of his actual guitars.
Yeah, the Wolfgang Custom.
They,
Yeah, I
they
saw
have
the
them
one.
on display.
Yeah, the orange painted back headstock. I saw you playing with that one.
Yeah. They have them on display for a few days.
And it's weird that they're there. Actually, it's kind of weird that they're actually literally there.
Oh, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. I ran into Chip that day, and he's like, Johnny, like he knew me from online, you know, all these years, and he's like, Johnny, check out Eddie's guitar, you know, play it, pick it up, you know.
If you insist.
And I was like, well, I'm just like, you know, I filmed some videos of it and stuff, and so, but nobody else there knew it was Eddie's guitar.
No,
right?
They wouldn't.
So you can actually hear me in the video when I'm looking it over. I was like filming like the front of it, you know, the neck, everything. You can hear me saying, "Hey, this is Eddie's actual guitar," to somebody next to me. And the guy's like, "Really? Whoa," you know. So a lot of those guys who would show up every time I made it back my way to the booth, if I saw somebody kind of looking at it, I would say, "Pick it up and play it," because that's actually Eddie's guitar.
You have the power.
And they would freak out. They'd be like, "No way," you know.
Little did they know Johnny had a 3D printer app on his phone. He's scanning the guitar down to the last detail so he could produce it when he gets home.
Yeah, and I would show them the photo of Eddie with it.
Yeah.
You know, because Eddie was there like 2 days before. You know, and so I enjoyed you know, making people happy. You know, showing them that they were actually, you know, holding something that was really, really special. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, since we've got all these people here, I'd like to answer a question that went on Johnny's hangout yesterday, if possible.
Sure.
I've got a picture. They were wondering who Eddie's tech was in '98, and Johnny saying he saw this picture, and yeah, this is the picture I have. This is my friend Koji sitting on stage with him with Eddie's guitar. Anybody know him?
I don't.
That's who the tech was.
It's possible he was just with them for those 4 shows.
That leg.
For in Japan, that's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
You know, he could have been somebody they just hired and they just took over. You know, or maybe he lived there.
Yeah, it's possible.
You know?
So we don't have an answer on that one, or you do have it, Molly?
No, I don't know his name. Okay. No idea.
Anyone has it, drop in the comments.
I still think Matt Bruck was handling the majority of that then. I won't swear by it, but I almost remember reading that Matt was handling most of the guitar tech responsibilities in '98 during 3 Tour.
Eric will remember this.
Oh, for sure I do.
Oh yeah.
Right. That's the one right there, man.
Yeah,
Holding court with the king.
Very
I remember
cool.
that picture.
98. Awesome. I remember that very, very well. Just gotta do a quick shout out here to Brent Cohn. He's saying I missed this comment. We got talking about the Kramers earlier. He's saying, I love the Kramer 1984 Focus 3000 with a 2013 pickup Wolfgang at the bridge. And Bill Howe, my mentor back in the day, had a Pacer, same color. Damn, I love that guitar. So yeah, he's posted a picture of a blue, kind of like that sparkle blue Focus 3000. Very cool. Yeah, we've all had some of those Kramers. Yeah. And some of us still do. Johnny's probably one of the largest collections, maybe Rob as well. But yeah, some cool stuff. Very, very cool.
Rob.
I don't even own a single Kramer to this day. I wish I did. Yeah.
I still have my first one.
The one that I have that I really like, and I don't play it very often because I'm not a huge fan. I'm not anti-Rockinger. It's just not my favorite. I prefer to play a Floyd, but I do like the Rockinger. Is my 1980. Early '83 B series Kramer Kramer Pacer with the black one with a Rockinger tremolo on it. That's pretty cool. It's got the gold hardware on it, the gold Godos, and that was a guitar that I purchased a couple of years ago from Craigslist from a local guy, for I think $700. And I saw it and I said, the guy just wanted to get rid of it. He was the original owner back from 1983, and the guitar, just absolute immaculate condition. Just some minor scratchage on the back, for some buckle rash. But other than that, the guitar was just amazing, and the Rockinger works, flawlessly. It's kind of cool to have that guitar with the Rockinger on it,
For sure. Now, is that the Rockinger? I don't know if I've played one of the Rockinger trims. Johnny, is that the one that you were playing the other day at Guitar Center? That Kramer?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. That was the Voyager. Yeah, and that guitar was all original. And by the way, if anybody's watching this, I know I said in that video I didn't know what pickups those were, but after I looked back at it again, after I stopped filming, I realized they were original. They were Shallers.
Okay, cool.
That was the Rockinger. That was the original Eddie Van Halen tremolo. The same tremolo that was on his purple Pacer that ended up getting taped up. Mm-hmm. It was also on. What was it on? Was it on the double neck? The Secrets yellow Unk double neck?
Yeah.
Was that a Rockinger?
Yeah, he had it on that, and he also had a white Pacer. A photo shoot back from '82. He was wearing the white jumpsuit, and he had that one too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very cool, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, I'm going to get ready to wrap up here. Before we do wrap up. Just wanted to say a couple of things because the whole topic was basically talking about these standards, how affordable they are, and how you can upgrade them. Take a look on my channel here at some of the other videos. We've done some shootouts with the guitars stock from the factory. We've done the AB comparison. We've done some discussion with some other Wolfgang Standard owners. I can't say enough about the guitar. Affordable guitar, entry level for the EVH line, but do not let entry level scare you, because you're going to be really surprised when you get one of these new hands. Go down to your local EVH dealer if you can that carries them, plug one into an amplifier, and give them a whirl for yourselves. I have to thank all you guys for joining me today. This has been a great hangout. We've got people from all the continents practically right now, or many continents I should say. It's nice to have some Canada representation. We've got the US, we've got Japan, we've got I think that's it. But it's a nice hangout and sharing our love of the gear, of the man, of building guitars, getting brand new ones, and having your pets destroy them, and all that kind of fun stuff. But I really appreciate it. And meeting some new faces as well too. It's always great. Getting some good comments on here. I'll try to respond to some of those as well. But let's watch over the next, tonight, tomorrow, see what we see emerge from NAMM. I see Johnny, you just posted something. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But is that someone playing the amp at NAMM?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody played it.
I'll play that when we get off the air.
It's cool.
Yeah.
The thing. Well, real quick.
Yeah.
If any of you guys, if you go to NAMM, if you go to I go to the winter NAMM here in California in Anaheim.
That's the big one.
That's the big one. And even though the booth is somewhat bigger, it's still pretty small. And so it's very, very, it's very hard actually to get to plug into the stuff, because right next to the EVH booth is the Gretsch booth, next to the Jackson is right across from there, all in the same room. So it's all you hear is like people talking and partying, and it's
you got buyers there too, making big deals too.
Oh yeah. That's what it's all about. You see tables. They have tables. You go down to the Music Man. If you guys want to see Sterling Ball, go down to the Music Man room, and there's Sterling sitting there, shaking hands, wearing top hats. They have like a circus theme with their booth.
Mr. Davies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And then you see all the cool dudes walking around. Albert Lee walks by. I'm like, hey man, Steve Morris. Hey, you meet all these guys.
That's awesome.
But as far as getting to play through the stuff, it's very tricky. You have to kind of, if you know them, like I was able to plug into some of the stuff last year with you can see some videos of me playing the Star guitar and whatever. Yeah, I have a feeling, with the booth right now, I have a feeling the EVH booth right now is basically those two guitars in that amp.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is.
Yeah,
You
my
know?
guy said they had a very small presence, a very small presence.
Yeah, because if you look at any of the photos from that, you
So you
see,
see-
you see next to the Eddie guitars, you see different guitars on each side that are not EVH.
That's right.
So that means, plus all the on top of that amp, you see a bunch of catalogs.
Yes.
So that's telling me that amp and those two guitars are it. That's the
It-
only.
It goes to
Only
show you
shot.
they haven't been there in 10 years, and it's funny. I just sent an email. That's how I got the scoop on it. I sent an email to my guy. I said, "You're not at a NAMM, are you?" And he says, "Actually, I'm not. I'm on a secret mission." And I was like, "Oh man, now you really got me. You really got my interest going." He's on a secret mission, and I can only imagine what that is. But he
He's
said
on
the
a
mark-
mission from God.
That's right, from Ed himself. And but the marketing team is there. He had said so. So I was like, oh wow. He goes, again, it's the first time we've been there. We usually don't do it, as Johnny's alluded to before. But obviously, I think it warranted enough. Small booth, pop it in there, put the amp and the guitars in there, some brochures just to let people know. I think this is too big of an announcement to not have a little bit of a presence, because people would say, why weren't you there? Even with this announcement, I think they had to be there. So
Yeah.
We'll see more. We'll see more of this stuff in full force in January.
big time.
But yeah, I heard. Yeah, they have guys from. I mean, Fender is basically it's based out of Arizona.
Mhm.
That's where the company is, but the factories are in Corona and down in Mexico. But I heard at NAMM now they actually have a guy from each territory.
Cool.
You know, so there's somebody from Arizona there. There's somebody from California. You know, but yeah, again though, as far as seeing videos of people playing that new amp, yes, there is a video someone just posted, which you guys can check out. But as far as getting to play through the stuff, it's very tricky to do. I would say if we're going to hear any actual demos of the thing at NAMM,
Don't judge it on that either.
There'll be professional. There'll be more professional videos.
Mhm.
They won't be from people with iPhones,
Mhm.
you know. So you know, I'm sure we'll get an EVH official video with somebody playing through it. But yeah, I think it'll be much bigger promotion in January.
For sure. I should have one here in a couple of weeks, and I'm hoping. I mean, if you guys give me a suggestion on your tips as well too, I mean, it's things that you'd like to see. One of the things I plan on doing is I want to do a couple different ABs. I want to do one with SM57 on the right on the cone, and I might do a combination of that plus a room mic so you can hear it in the room itself. Is there anything that you'd like to see when I get a chance to demo that? Anybody there as far as like do you want to hear more? You want to hear a room? You want to hear a speaker? What do you want to hear?
Would you mind wearing a thong when you do it?
That might hurt sales. I don't want to hurt the sales.
As long as it's striped, right?
Yeah.
You could sell the G string.
There
Oh,
you go.
get it, G string guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
Mully.
Kill me.
Mully,
Yes, sir.
that actually reminds me. I was going to ask Eric because I didn't hear like the whole conversation tonight.
Yeah.
On your guitar that you're having problems with.
Mhm.
Did you change the string?
No.
Did you put a new string on?
Nope.
I would do that.
So,
It
okay.
could just be the string.
But Johnny, it's going to cross every string though. But
Yeah.
it could be a bad set of strings. These are factory. So
Could be.
you know what?
I changed mine with the Ernie Ball Super Slinky 10s. That's what I play on. The ones that came with the guitar, I just threw them away.
You know what? For the cost of strings, I mean, I've got a whack load. I've got so many Ernie Ball strings kicking around here. I'll throw some on. What's it going to hurt to try? And I mean, these are the factory strings, anyways. They still sound somewhat bright, but it's $5 for a set of strings. I'll throw them on there, and
Right.
I'll give you guys a report through Facebook there, and I'll let you know
Yeah.
if anything. You never know. Sometimes
That'd be
it's the
interesting if
simplest
it
things.
was the strings, because why would that happen?
I know. It's unlikely, but I like to exhaust every.
Oh yeah,
possible,
yeah,
you
of
know.
course, of course.
So Johnny, thanks for the suggestion on that. Yeah, I'll
But-
give that a try tomorrow.
Plus, in the bridge, it's totally flush, right?
100%. Yeah.
Totally.
It's hard to see it. I probably can't show you, but it's try it.
Like
Maybe.
when you strum it and then you pull up on the bar, there's no movement at all.
Nope. I could pull backwards with all my strength and snap the bar off. Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird anomaly, and I feel kind of silly that I can't figure it out because I can troubleshoot a guitar pretty good. But I'm kind of glad it's got me guessing, and it's not making me dislike the guitar at all. It's making me like it more because I'm on a quest to figure it out.
I'm really thinking it's the bridge. I think there's something with that bridge, or something with the tolerances, something with the actual saddles, or a shimming issue. It has to be the bridge.
I'm thinking so too. I'm leaning heavily to that, and I'll send you my address to get you that one from you.
Yeah, because nothing makes any sense about that, because like we said before, you're engaging it, which increases the tension, but the other strings are loosening.
Yeah. It's reverse. It's like opposite poles. We'll figure it out.
And try switching the springs.
That's why
too.
I think it's warping the neck.
Yeah, I've got the I'll try regular ones. I got the FU tone in there right now. I'll throw some stock ones back here just to try for shits and giggles. But if I was
that's what I wanted to ask you. The Futone. How do you say it?
Everybody says it FU-tone, Futone. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, Futone. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you asked that guy?
Yes.
Why it might be doing that?
Yep. Well, and he was kind of scratching his head as well too. One of the things he was, we were just throwing out ideas was the softer wood on the body. Maybe it was like kind of recessing into the wood. Wasn't that? And we both come up with the idea of the trem stopper to basically we'll set the ground zero at just a millimeter higher. So he's sending me one. It's coming. I'll have it next week. It's probably going to be something I'm not going to need. I think it's the bridge. So like I said, if I'm a betting man, I'd put 98% of my thoughts and stock into the bridge. And
the bridge.
We have flaws, right? Everything has a flaw, and it's just a manufacturing flaw possibly in the Floyd, and we will find out. And it saves, with Rob sending me one, it saves me tearing apart one of my other guitars, because sometimes one of those things, don't fix what's not broke. Those guitars back there are playing great. If I don't need to take one apart, I don't necessarily really want to. So that'll help.
I'm going to throw one idea out.
Okay.
And it's totally off the cuff here, and I have no idea if it even makes any sense.
Okay.
But the screws into the body in the back, you said you got those all the way in. You tried that and everything, right?
Yes, I've gone both
to the
extreme. Is there
any chance whatsoever that those holes might be just a touch stripped, and when you push it in, it kind of maybe...
A good theory. I'll look at it. The best way to find out
might pull it out just a touch enough to.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty big drop, though. That's a noticeable drop.
Quarter of a note. Yeah, quarter of a note for sure. The only way to really tell if those screws are weak, whatever, is to take the springs off and then kind of tug on the screws yourself, and you'll know if there's any play. I'll give that some. I got to take the strings out anyways to some of the strings to restring it. So we'll try every angle there is. I'll let you guys know for sure.
Was this something that just started happening too?
No,
it wasn't like this before.
No, I think it did it all along. I think it's just something that was like one day I was just like, whoa,
what was that?
What about, because Rob knows this. When you put the D-Tuna on, there's two different screws that it comes with.
Yes, different lengths.
And if it has the the wrong one on it, it could be doing that.
Yeah, well, Adam put this one on himself, and here again too. That's like, it doesn't get any better than that. So I'd say if one of my kids is sick, I'm gonna have the best surgeon in the world see the child, and Adam is the best surgeon in the world when it comes to guitars. I mean, he's made Eddie's sound like $1 million. So
right, but even with those D-Tuna screws that go back into the bridge,
yeah,
they're different lengths, so when you're using the wrong one.
Yeah, there's a noticeable difference, like Jared was saying earlier too. Yeah, and this one's definitely the right length because it's longer than the other ones. It's by about, I'm just looking at it by, I don't know, 1/4 inch longer.
Yeah.
So it's the right length for it.
And I wish I was there to play with that.
I know.
I'm got my brain, what's going on here?
And you can imagine me now too. Number one, it's a novelty of having a new guitar. Number two, it's now my favorite guitar, and I've been playing the Stripes, and I've been playing the Japanese Special, and I play those a lot. This thing, I come home before I even go to work now. I pick this up and play it acoustically. It's just, I love the guitar. It makes me want to play it. And it's making me madder than hell because I can't figure out this little thing. But we'll get to it. I was actually going to give up and pull the D-Tuner off of it, just play without the D-Tuner. But I'm now obsessed to the point of
you have to find out what that is.
Yeah.
You got to figure it out. You got to
Yeah.
figure
Even
it
if
out.
not for yourself, you got to find out for us now. You
I know. And at the same time, too, that's why I like watching videos. I think that's why other people like watching all of our videos. But I like watching videos. If I can have someone tell me something, you know, if maybe there's a new camera I want to buy, and these guys will tell me as opposed to me reading 50 reviews, and it just saves a lot of chasing your tail, right? So hopefully I can help
Definitely.
another guitar player that has the same problem, too. Because if it is a bad bridge, chances are there might be another one out there, and you know, maybe it's a warranty replacement, or maybe it's you know whatever. We'll get to it, and I promise I'll
Yeah.
update you guys for sure. But thanks for all of you guys for at least trying some ideas. You all have had really good ideas, and sometimes it's the simplest things. You know, you don't have any sound coming out of your speakers. Well, you got them plugged in. You know, like the simple things, right? You know, and it's usually those things before it being a driver on your computer, or you know, the things that the big deals, right?
I was on stage one night and just my sound just went totally out.
Yeah.
And everybody's back at my amp, you know, hanging on it and checking and turning things and blah blah. And I looked down and I had kicked the shield, I had kicked the cord out of the
Yeah.
pedal board.
Yeah, sometimes that can do it.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, that's right. They tend to like being plugged in to get the tone going, as you know, the throughput there, for sure. Well, listen, guys, we'll wrap up here. We had a nice long hangout. We'll give hugs and kisses after we go off the air here. And so thanks so much for joining me. And as always, be sure to check out my sponsors. As you know the drill, check out VanHalenStore.com and Van Halen News Desk, VHND.com. And go get yourself some great Van Halen merchandise for the summer. And until next time, cheers.